burning to break free. Do you feel anything at all? While I lie here on the ground, I felt you take over my mind when I knelt to beg you for your time. And like a bitch I let you in, but now I'm slowly giving in to ending it. Erase me. I'd rather be unturned than turned since you left me. I won't stop until I'm gone. There's no healing when the only way to love you is to swallow the knife one inch at a time. There's no healing, and the only way to love you is to swallow the knife one inch at a time. One inch at a time. Inch at a time.
Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. How are we doing? Are we doing good? Thank you for joining me. This is Myles Dyer Live. I am Myles Dyer, and every Wednesday at this time, we come together in the live chat. I want to say hello to all of you in the live chat, or perhaps you're watching on replay, in which case, hello to you. I look forward to maybe seeing your comments in the comment section below afterwards. And we get together to talk about all sorts of stuff. Sometimes it's light-hearted things, maybe gaming, quizzes, pop culture, and other times we take it a bit more serious. Mental health and well-being, life hacks, political events, and we are definitely going to be talking on the more serious side today. But hopefully this conversation will take a direction that perhaps isn't what you might think from seeing the title of this live show, which is The Problem with Voting. Is it enough? And this actually came to mind this week due to an experience I had, so I will get into that in a little bit. But first of all, I just want to say hello to everyone that is in the live chat. Hello to Karina, Mojo, Callie, Silver Nexus, Canuck Tunes. Hello to all of you. And Kira, good to see you here. Q Creator, always sharing this on Threads. I appreciate that. I did get a Threads account, but I just never really use it. There's always just so much that you could post everywhere, right? But yeah, I hope you're all doing well, and especially if you're in a part of the world where it is very, very toasty. It's very, very toasty here, and I was agonising on a topic for today's show, and it was only in the last hour. I actually had 3 ideas lined up, quite different ideas. One of them was about how do we cope with this heat, and I just thought about how I don't really want to be thinking about the heat while doing this show. It's going to be difficult not to, but talking about the heat and you know, techniques on how to stay cool. Maybe we can do that next week or the week afterwards. I was also thinking about having a debate about the best pizza toppings. That's something we've been wanting to discuss for a while. We will come to that another time. But today it just felt like a right moment to talk about basically politics, because it's a noisy world out there, isn't it? Whether it's on social media or on the news, there's just so much drama. It can be very exhausting, depressing, and annoying. And so I wanted to unpack that and also talk about, you know, what are we as individuals actually doing? Because we spend so much of our time thinking about politics because it's in our face. But are we actually doing anything to help move the needle? Other than, you know, go to the ballot box perhaps and cast a vote every 4 or 5 years. But we will talk about all that a little bit later. A bit of housekeeping. Firstly, let me just bring this up here. You can contact me on all these different platforms. Instagram is, I say, where I'm most active. Twitter seems to be the case now, just because that's where a lot of devs are in the VR space, and I've been definitely busy with virtual reality. I've been sweating a lot lately playing a game called Toss, which for those of you that tuned into my Let's Play on, was it on Monday? I think it was on Monday. It was a real workout, and I've been playing it on my lunch breaks. I've been a sweaty mess playing that game with all this heat. My website, milesdyer.com, which I am actually going to work through later this week and give it a bit of a rewrite, because although it's all factual, I just like to sort of change the context of it. And I know what some people are saying, it's X, it's not Twitter. I'm at twitter.com/home right now. It is what it is. And I do tend to interchange between X and Twitter. In terms of how the week looks on this YouTube channel, and please do subscribe to youtube.com/Myles. Had an amazing month in August. Massive increase in subscribers. But as always, once I get to that 48k mark, which I keep hitting again and again this year, it starts going down again. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do. I think about 60% of the people that watch this show aren't actually subscribed to the YouTube channel. Now, that might be because you don't have a Google or YouTube account, in which case I would say, please get one. Or maybe you're just like, I'm not sure if I'm going to subscribe. Take a chance on me. Take a chance on me. Hit that subscribe button. You don't have to ring the bell, but I'd love it if you could ring the bell to be notified about all future Myles Dyer lives, which are every Wednesday at this time. And then on Fridays, I co-host with my brilliant friend Brian Paul, who lives all the way over the ocean in Boston, Massachusetts. PSVR Gamescast Live, or Gamescast, as they'd say over there. That's always a late one, but always good. We didn't have one last Friday just because Brian was very overworked and deserved a break, but we should be returning this Friday. And then at the weekends, it's all about Let's Plays. Jumping into the world of virtual reality, you get to laugh at me when I'm in silly situations, or sometimes when I'm in seriously scary situations. But I haven't actually decided what games I'm going to be live streaming this weekend. But I will not be doing it. I normally do it on a Saturday. It will be happening on Sunday this weekend, just because I have relatives over from Canada, which should be really, really nice. So we're going to have a big catch up, have a barbecue together. If the weather is nice, knowing our luck, we'll have all this really hot sunny weather, and then we'll get to that and it will start raining. I was going to use less flowery language to describe that, but yeah, it's been a busy week. So yeah, that is the channel in a nutshell. Also, do hit the like button if you haven't already. It does help. It might seem like why are people so obsessed with like buttons? It's just a number. The reality is the way that algorithms work is it looks for engagement. So if I do a live stream and there's lots of people watching and only 3 people hit the like button, it goes, okay, it's not really creating a lot of engagement, it's just sort of passive. But if lots of people hit the like button, it starts sending out to more and more of my subscribers, and it just helps get the ball rolling. So I appreciate you all for that. Some people saying they will probably always call X Twitter. It will be interesting, especially because I work in marketing. A lot of the social management platforms and that all keep calling it Twitter. They still use the bird icon. It will be interesting to see what it is a year from now. I'm being asked about what this is just to the right of me, to my right or your left. This is a diffuser. So you put incense in there, and it's just water vapor. I'm always a bit worried because it's against that metal poster, and I don't want it to sort of cause it to fade. But it's so thin, and I have all sorts of scents that I can throw in there. So it feels a bit warm to be lighting a candle. But I have been loving this device that I was showing you last week. For those that missed it, it is for it's like it's cool. It's cool. Doesn't use fuel. You just charge it up, and it's been amazing. And right now, I think because of the weather, I don't drink a lot, but I had a beer in the fridge, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have a beer during this live show. So I want to say cheers to you all. Nice beer. Lovely. Before we get to vitamin G and Dyer discoveries, and Sylvan Nexus is just saying, people who are really engaged are focused on you and the chat and like the post after the show. We also, some people like to hang on there because, some people might want to dislike the show. I always have one person that keeps coming back disliking the show, but that's still engagement. But yeah, look, I'm not here to say that, if you're not hitting the like button, you're not engaging. I'm just saying that's how it helps. That's the science of it. And I love you all for it. You've all been wonderful. Okay, so before getting to vitamin G and Dyer discoveries, I thought I'd talk a little bit about some of the games I've been playing lately. One of them was a first-person shooter called Crossfire Sierra Squad, which I've been having a great time with. As a kid, I used to love playing Time Crisis. I don't know if any of you ever played that. It's always in the arcade. You and your friends, one has a red gun, one has a blue gun pistol, and I don't know if it was on the first one, I think it was as well. You have a pedal, and you press the pedal to get from behind a box, and you shoot, and then when you take your foot off the pedal, you hide again, and you play on a big screen. This game isn't exactly that, but it has the arcadey feel, and I've been playing lots and lots of it, and this clip is where me and my friend Johnny, we were clearing out a corridor on a really difficult mode, on realism mode. So if you get shot, it's pretty much over. And he found a little positioning at the back where he could aim down the line. And so I said, all right, I'll go in the alleyway to trigger the enemies, because when you get to a new area, new enemies come at you. That seemed like a good plan, except it wasn't, because this happened.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll trigger it. You stay there. Yeah, but might trigger some more. Yeah, here they come. No! There's a big boy in there.
Yeah, got locked out, and it was hammer time. MC hammer time, got taken out. But if, shooting games and violence isn't for you, then the game Toss that I played on Monday was a super cute game where it's an obstacle course, and it was a lot of fun. Those bounce pads are I think the hardest thing so far in the game, because to get it just right. I love the sound effects and the spikes. Oh, okay, that was good. Okay, this looks tricky. Oh shit, that is. Whoa. Ape, adapt, overcome. It's a really fun game. So you're a monkey. You got to collect pieces of banana. And there's 3 challenges on each level. So first of all, you got to get to the green button at the end to complete the level. But the challenges are time, grabs, and banana. Banana is you got to collect all the pieces of banana in one run and get to the end. So you got to collect the banana. Time is it gives you a time and you have to complete the level in that time. So you have to be as quick as you can. And then grabs is where it will say you have to complete the course in this number of grabs. And that means like times that you're grabbing onto stuff. And so you have to really fling yourself far. Toss is actually out tomorrow. And I was very lucky thanks to the devs, and I'm completely lost for the name of the publishers, Vertigo Games, and the devs were Agira Games, who provided me with the game key, so I got to play it before launch. The game comes out tomorrow, and I've already platinumed it. And for those of you that aren't gamers, you play computer games, you unlock stuff, but on PlayStation you have trophies, and they're like challenges, certain things in the game. And often, once you've completed the game, you've got all the trophies. And once you've got all the trophies, if you're lucky, a trophy will have a platinum trophy. And then there are leaderboards online because you get points for different trophies. And it's for me, the reason I like it is because so many games are digital these days. That you used to own a game and then put it on the shelf when you complete it. You don't really have it anymore. So trophies is kind of a nice digital way of like, I've played that game, I've completed it all. And after work, I had a go at the game, and I actually platinumed the game. I was the first in the world to do it. Obviously getting it early, and I was exhausted but happy about it.
I'm on the last obstacle course. This could be it. Done it.
And you saw my cuffs change colour, because when you complete challenges, your cuffs change. It's a really cute game. So if you're into VR and you're into sort of like, action-y sort of games, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So I had a good time with it. Hello, Hannah. Welcome. I hope you're doing good. Welcome. Wow, it is so toasty today. So with all that said, let's get to Vitamin G. Vitamin G is where every week we take a moment just to think about what we are grateful for. This is an opportunity for you in the chat to just say what you're grateful for. Might be for a person, an experience, a thing. It could be anything. But also, you don't have to externalize that inner thought. You can keep it to yourself. But just taking a moment every day to think about what you're grateful for is really good for mental health and well-being. And it's also good because it just encourages us to put more positive energy in the world. And I think sometimes when we're having a bad day, when we think about those good things, it's just a nice reminder that not everything is bad. And so what I'm grateful for is I'm definitely grateful for the ability to have a nice cold drink of water. But not just that. Right now, I've got a nice cold beer. So I am grateful for that, because in this hot weather, anything to cool you down is absolutely wonderful. What is everyone grateful for this week? If anything, some of you might be like, I'm totally not grateful for anything. And then we will head over to Dyer Discoveries. And actually, while you're doing that, I should have probably mentioned that every week, for the most part, when we are having this live show, you'll see pinned in the live chat, there's a puzzle. There's a puzzle right here, and it's already been... No, it's not completed yet. It's almost done. My goodness. I did make it easier this week, though. I made it less pieces. And this is a puzzle where you click a piece and you click another to swap them around, and if it flashes red, it means you've messed it up, and if it goes green, it's in the right area. So the link is there. Well done, everyone who's been doing it. There are 18 pieces left, and it will be stuff like this, which I can see is a bit harder to work out. So yeah, normally we do over 500 piece puzzles. I think this was a 380 something. Let me have a look here. What was it? Normally tells you at the bottom and that. But yeah, click the link, and some people just like to have a play with this in the background. So well done, everyone. Normally we're doing it to the end. Okay. Callie says, held over from when I travelled through Crewe, the member of the train staff who held the Chester train to allow me to make the connection. That's good. I didn't know they could hold trains, because I thought it just messed up everything. So no, that's really good. That's really, really good. Mojo says, I'm grateful for all of you, yourself, Mr. Tippy Toes Dyer, and electric fans to fight off the heat. Yeah, for those that don't know why I'm called Tippy Toes, it's because when I used to be in the studio recording vocals for my band, I used to stand on my toes. It was just a part of my mantra, or sort of my ritual with recording vocals, like leaning into the microphone. And speaking of that, I actually went to see my best friend Hugh's band, new band that he's in, play in town, which was great to see. And it did leave me... I miss playing live, like it's so good. But I was really happy to see him playing in a new band, because I know him and I were considering doing a new music project this year. But at the start, I was just like, I can't commit as much as I'd like to do it, just with everything else going on. And not long after that, I went to Sweden to see some devs in VR. I got sent a PlayStation VR 2 headset. All of that started taking off, and it was definitely the right decision, even if it was tough. Vargosov says it's all the black stuff that needs going in terms of on this puzzle. It's all the stuff around the edges that can be very, very difficult. Whenever I design thumbnails now, I do have the puzzle in mind, but that's why I've made the pieces a lot bigger, just because I knew it was going to be a bit tricky this week. Kira says, I'm grateful to get to spend time with my mum. She is sleeping a lot, but we had dinner and a pleasant talk. What did you have for dinner? Chaos says, I'm grateful for my eyelids. Yeah, me too. Roy says, I'm grateful that I can order a bunch of stuff from Temu and still only spend a few bucks. Kind of fun, actually. What is Temu? I don't know what Temu is. Do enlighten me. Karina says, although it cannot cope with the heat on days like this, on the flip side, I love those balmy summer evenings. Fill me with peace no matter what's going on in my life. Just being able to go out in the evening and it just being nice and warm is great. But at the moment, I have all my windows upstairs open, hoping that it's going to have a breeze coming through. But it's not just breezes, it's spiders as well. I've been having a lot of spiders in the house, which I'm not particularly a fan of. But it's nature. It's nature. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Next up, Dyer Discoveries. And I have to say... I don't actually have anything in mind at the moment. Dyer Discoveries. What have I discovered this week? Sometimes I do have to do this on the spot. What is something I have discovered this week? So as many of you know, I use ChatGPT, and I pay for ChatGPT 4.0. One of the issues with ChatGPT, which I think is a good thing in many ways, is it only uses the internet up to I'm going to say 2020 or 2021. But there are plugins, and I've never used them, and I never knew how to use them. I've now discovered how to do that. So on ChatGPT, you can use plugins like Expedia. So you can now use ChatGPT to, via Expedia, get you, like, basically be your travel agent, like help you set up a vacation and get you prices and things like that. I use one that I can put in a YouTube video, like a two-hour YouTube video, and it will be able to access the transcript and then summarize the YouTube video. And then also it allows me to put in website links, and it will be able to give breakdowns of all the web pages I'm doing. So yeah, it's only available for ChatGPT Plus, but I love using it, and it makes my life a lot easier with especially a lot of the work I do with content development. But as I've always said, I don't use ChatGPT to be sort of the final product. I use it to brainstorm and to generate ideas that I can then tweak and that. So that has been my diet discovery for this week. But everyone, listen, today's topic. Oh, Kira says, I made pasta with a tomato zucchini sauce. Check Discord later for the harvest. Got to see this. And yes, if you do want to join our community, please do join our Discord, Empathy Arcade. Link is in the description to this video. It's a wonderful community. Come hang out. Although we talk about gaming a lot, it's not all about gaming. And Melanie says, Vitamin G, I'm grateful I survived this flu. Well, that's good to hear. Illness is never fun, and I know there's a lot of illness going around at the moment. And I think because of the heat, I've just not been sleeping well lately. So I'm hoping to have a good sleep tonight, but we shall see. So everyone, I totally appreciate that this episode at first glance might be like, oh my goodness, politics. I don't want to talk about politics. And to be honest, that reaction is kind of why I've made this video. And it's not here to preach to anyone about, this is what you should think or do about politics. I genuinely want a conversation because I've been thinking about this for a long time. And what the foundational point I would make is I am a very politically engaged person in terms of politics itself, the topic of politics. A lot of the content I consume online are podcasts and about news analysis and discussion. I'm quite knowledgeable on politics, although I don't do a lot of political content anymore, just because I find it quite exhausting, and it's like a great way to just get shat on online. But the reason I mention that is there's a lot of conversation around. There are millions of people who are like me that consume a lot of political content, have a good knowledge of politics, have even a great sense of what matters to them and the changes that they'd like to see in the world. But if you look at yourself in third person and you were to judge yourself from the outside, what are you actually doing? And so if I was to look from third person, it'd be, I'm here, working my job, doing these live streams, listening to political podcasts. But every 4 to 5 years, although it's been every couple of years in this country, every time we have, I find it so boring that I'm yawning. Every time we have an election, I will go out and vote, and that is it. And so I used to be someone who preached the idea that, having conversations with people is like great political activism because it gets people thinking about the issues. It helps build bridges, hopefully, and it might inspire people to take action. But I just think there are millions and millions of people in the world like me who are very engaged in politics, know what they want, but all they do is actually just vote at every election, which is, in many ways, the bare minimum of a democratic duty. If you're someone that believes that is even the case. There are some people that just choose not to vote. And the reason I bring this up is I had someone knock on my door a few weeks ago. Young guy, he was canvassing for a political party here in the UK called the Liberal Democrats. For those, my international audience, there are sort of three main political parties. We have the Conservatives, who are a right-wing government. We have Labour, who are left to centre-left party at the moment. And then we also have the Liberal Democrats, who are a smaller party. They've only been in power in recent memory once, which was about 10 years ago. Might have been a bit longer. I don't know where does time go anymore. But that was in coalition with the Conservative government. So the reason I bring this up is, at the moment, we've had a Conservative government for 13 years. And in my opinion, and I'm sure many people agree, it's an absolute disaster. We are literally tearing ourselves apart as a country. We have a completely dysfunctional government. The talent has just dried up, and it's all about fighting for power. And so it's just about like employing people that will just do what you say. And we're just having, it's just completely disastrous, and it's incredibly depressing. The reason I bring this up is this young guy knocked on my door, and he was canvassing for the Liberal Democrats. Now, in my constituency, our boundaries have changed, which means we now have a new sort of choice in the election. But Conservatives are still the dominant party. They get voted in every time. And so the Liberal Democrats are making the argument that in previous elections, they came second place. So they have the best chance of beating the Conservatives if you want to get rid of them. And so I just told the guy that, yeah, I'll be voting Liberal Democrats in the next election, not because I'm a Liberal Democrat, but because I want to get rid of this government. Like, we need change. And it's a depressing state of affairs. I'm sure it's something a lot of you will relate to in your parts of the world, which is you don't really, if you've got a first past the post system, you don't really get to vote for the party that you want. You have to just vote against the one that you hate the most, which is incredibly depressing. So yeah, I'm tactically voting. But then he asked me if I would be interested in canvassing. And canvassing being, I assume canvassing can be like taking to the streets and just handing out flyers and that. But like canvassing mainly is going door to door. Now it could be what he does, which is going door to door, knocking on the door, handing a flyer like he did, and then having a conversation. But canvassing can also be just like putting letters through the letterboxes. And he said, would I be willing to volunteer some time and do it? And I, in that moment, thought about what I mentioned at the start of this conversation, which was, I'm always complaining. I'm always irritated by the political system. I want this current government out. But just talking about it, and voting is the bare minimum. But what's it actually doing? What's it actually achieving? It's achieving the bare minimum. And so I said, yeah, sure. I said, but just to let you know, I'm not a member of your party. I'm not a Liberal Democrat supporter. I'm an independent. But if I can do something to help take out this government. And by the way, there'll be people that maybe watch this live stream who are Conservative supporters and voters. And all I would say to you is, we could have a back and forth about policy and disagreements and stuff. That's not the point of this conversation. This conversation is not about Conservatives bad, Lib Dems good, for example. That'd be very black and white thinking. All I'm talking about is, from my perspective, it's a party I want to get rid of, and so I'm actually doing something about it. So they actually dropped off at my home 250 letters. And so over 3 lunchtimes, I went round my neighbourhood and I delivered letters. And I think there was only one person I stumbled across who was actually out their house, like in front of their house at the time. And I said, hey, do you want me to put this through your letterbox or do you want me to give it to you? And they said, oh, no, I'll take it. And they went, what is it? And so then I had to say, it's from the Liberal Democrats. But just to let you know, I'm not a Liberal Democrat member. I'm an independent. But I've just been tired of complaining all the time, so I thought I'd do something about it. And they respected that. And so I just wanted to tell that little story, because if everyone volunteered for that little amount, I think real change could be made. I think of people like in the US, like Bernie Sanders. Again, regardless of what you make of his politics, something that you can definitely respect about Bernie Sanders was he says, this movement is not about me, it's about us. You need to run for your local school boards, you know? That's where, you know, it's all about grassroots, not just activism. And there is definitely a place for activism, being in pressure groups and things like that. But it's also about, like, go to your local, like, council meetings. If you're at university, and join a student union and things like that. Is in a year, could you dedicate, like, because that's what I did. I dedicated 3 of my lunchtimes for doing it. And I got out in the sun. It was nice and hot. And actually, I learned a lot about my neighborhood. I walked down streets that I literally can see from my house that I've never been down before. And I've been here like 10, 12 years, which has been amazing to see. And so, yeah, I just, and so the reason I tell this story as a premise for this conversation is, and this is going to be a very blunt question I'm going to ask you, and it might come across as quite rude, but I say this to be provocative and to get something out of you, because this is the question I ask myself, which is, do you care about society and wanting to make it better? Because I know I used to say I don't like politics, or I like politics, but I don't like politicians. The reality is everyone cares about politics because it impacts your cost of living, it impacts the environment, it impacts your security, education. Unfortunately, it involves us all. And so my question to you is, what are you doing about it other than voting, if that? And I have a few points to talk about of why I think a lot of us don't do a lot of stuff, but you know, I just wanted to start with that. And I'm just going to go through the chat and just read some comments, because there's been a lot of conversation that I really appreciate this. Karina says, we have no leader, no matter the party, it's a mess. So actually, if I was to give you a point off the top of my head, I want proportional representation. The Labour Party have actually voted at conference that they want to run on proportional representation. But unfortunately, once they get into power, if they get into power, they'll probably go, well, we got into power now. We don't want something that's going to put our power at risk. That's the cynical, I think quite realistic perspective from me. But then the argument is, so what do we do about it? We don't just vote them in. We then actually join, we join our local constituency MP. We have conversations with them. We phone up. We voice our opinions. We rally. We become parts of movements to enact these changes, because these changes can happen, but it takes a lot of effort, and it's very difficult when we work full-time jobs and we're exhausted with everything else. Ciago says, 100% agree with Karina. Feels like politicians lately are mostly career politicians. I'm struggling to see anyone worth voting for lately. And Shen says, until we have proportional representation, we are fucked, basically. And for those of you that don't know what proportional representation is and like how it compares to first past the post system, there was a great video about this that I would love to show now. Here we go. It was 12 years ago by CGP Grey, and it was called, let me find it here. Yeah, here we go. So I'm just going to put the link in the chat. Definitely save it for later. It's a really, really great video that just explains it using the animal kingdom and that, and it's really, really interesting. Right, let's have a look down here. Shen says, I knocked on the doors for Corbyn, and Corbyn, by the way, was a former Labour leader, but he torpedoed his own chances when he capitulated to the second referendum cabal. Nobody in the Midlands or North wanted that. So that was about Brexit. Game Cat says, empty promises from all parties. Something I would say about that is I'm someone who used to think that a lot, and I do think there are a lot of empty promises. But I do worry that it does become a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is if we become incredibly cynical, and I'm not saying that you're saying this, but like if we all start adopting the attitude of like all politicians are the same, they're all in it for themselves. And I know that I can already hear people saying like, but they are. But the point is that if you just start having that, not, a perspective that isn't nuanced, you're basically not giving a chance for people that are actually going to change that. So those criticisms are fair, by the way. But I do worry that sometimes our cynicism actually creates the environment that we're painting it as. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Hannah says, I work for a canvassing company in High College in NYC for minimum wage. They would tell us who we were canvassing for the start of each shift. I never once even canvassed in my district. Siaga says, I feel it's becoming increasingly more difficult to talk about politics lately. I appreciate here it's slightly different because you're all lovely, but it's either you're A or B. Yeah, it's all about tribal politics. And actually something that when I used to do my political videos, especially during the Bernie Sanders era, that when it came to Brexit and Trump, I was against Trump and I was against Brexit, but I had a lot of pro-Trump and pro-Brexit people that watched my content and liked it because they didn't feel I was misrepresenting them. I wasn't sort of creating straw man arguments. I wasn't sort of dehumanizing them. I was just being upfront about, this is what I think and this is what you think, and let's have a conversation about it. Obviously there were some people that probably hated me for my perspective, but that goes to the thing about, some people don't want to have a conversation about it. People don't seem to want to discuss the middle ground anymore, which in the ideal world we'd focus on what binds us, what helps us build together and grow together, not what separates us and holds us down. And unfortunately that is predominantly because when governments have a lot of issues, domestic issues, especially around economics, standard of living, employment, all that, they will lean into culture wars, because then that does divide people, and not just culture wars, but also like foreign news, what's happening overseas and things like that. Callie says, I know people who are more engaged and I feel a bit useless for not doing so. Take one friend who tirelessly goes around delivering leaflets for the Green Party with such energy and such faith. But the thing is, and I know that you're not saying this, it doesn't have to be either or. It doesn't have to be that you're completely dedicating your life to a political party. I am not a member of a political party. I have voted for a different party every election except one where I voted for one political party twice, and that was just tactical voting the second time, and will be the political party I probably vote this time, again, tactical voting. Here we go. PR would really help. Roy says, I just hope for the best. All I know is my 401k is way down during this administration. I actually don't understand what the 401k is in the US. I assume it's like a pension scheme, or is it like government bonds? If someone can explain that, that'd be great. Mojo says, I don't know if I can do much for politics, to be honest. I do vote, but I don't really do much else. Sorry if that sounds dumb. Doesn't sound dumb. But I agree that everyone cares to some degree about politics. And it doesn't sound dumb. And a lot of people are in that position. It's like, what can you do about it? And civic duty is, looking for the opportunities of where you can help. The only reason I did it was because a guy asked me on my front door, and we had a good conversation. I wasn't expecting us to have much of a conversation. I'm just always polite when people knock on the door, even if they bother me. I'm just like, had a Jehovah's Witness knock, and I think they obviously don't get a lot of doors open to them. And I just told them, I'm an atheist. Respect what you do. I'm not a part of it, but I wish you a good day. And they didn't seem taken back, but they seemed a bit, I guess, surprised or pleasantly surprised, just because I, treated them with decency. And it's like if you ever walk past someone that's selling magazines, like the big issue we have in the UK, to help people get back on their feet, look them in the eyes. Even if you're not going to buy it, sometimes it's very easy just to look away. But I'll look at them, I'll say hello. It's just about treating people, with their humanity. And Karina rightly says, so difficult to crystallise thoughts in a few lines in YouTube chat. Absolutely, for sure. Talking of humanity, Aiken says, I remember when I first came to your stream on a humanity stream. Yeah, it was good. So 401k is pensions. Right. I have one thing that I wish was removed in America, and that is standing up to Pledge of Allegiance. Why can't we just hear an anthem instead? Yeah, don't you have to do that at school, like stand up and pledge allegiance to the flag? I personally find that really eerie and old school. But it's the whole thing of like here in the UK, it's like I'm very critical of our country in that I don't like the royal family. I don't like what they stand for. And then people say, oh, you hate our country. No, I love lots of parts of this country, but we also have a lot of problems that we need solving. And actually, what do they say? Dissension is the most patriotic thing you can do, because it means you want it to be better. You want it to be better. Yeah, it's important. So, I mean, some really great thoughts there, people. So just to sort of unpack this a bit more, I think that there are two big things. Actually, no, there are three big things at play here. The first one, which was touched upon in the chat, which was there's a lot of ignorance, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way. There's a lot of ignorance of like, how do we even get involved? Like, I knew I could have probably phoned up a political party to do some canvassing, but it was only when he knocked on my door and sort of laid it out to me. And they made it really easy. And do you know what? This sounds really silly, but this is obviously how letters are delivered by the postman. But when they gave me these different piles, it was so nicely done that it was like, oh, wow, it's like they've planned this out, knowing which house is next. And it was great. It was great. It was really, really seamless. And it got me out of the house, which was good as well. And you could listen to a podcast while doing it, which was really, really good. I actually tried to get on our Discord during my walks, but Discord is very cumbersome on areas where there's low signal. It didn't work well at all, unfortunately. Couldn't even connect to Discord, which was frustrating. But the other two things that are at play here, which are kind of related, is we live in a world now where it's 24/7 drama. It's on the news, whether it's newspapers, it's on the television, it's on the internet, it's on social media. Just constant political drama. It might be because of catastrophes that have happened, and then like, what are the government doing about it? Or this has been done. It's the culture wars. I think of stuff like, Just Stop Oil in the UK, climate change protesters, trans issues, lots of stuff that is done as culture wars. And so when you deal with all that, you're just like, oh, I'm exhausted. I'm sick of this. Why do I want to engage with this? And so, yeah, you're like, I voted. I did my bit. Now I'm walking away. That's definitely one thing. And I think it has a negative impact on our mental health because it's just such a toxic environment. But the other thing also is, I think that because it is a toxic environment, it's not that it just exhausts you and you're like, oh, I don't want anything to do with it. It's also just not a very welcoming place. Why engage in politics when it's just such an ugly place? And for me, it's if enough people got involved with that kind of disgust, that is how you change it. And by the way, I'm not here to give solutions today. I'm not here saying this is the call to action that we do together and then we can fix it. This is a conversation that can happen in Discord afterwards and also in the comment section below. But today I just really wanted to get people thinking about the question of, when it comes to bettering society through politics, what are you actually doing about it? Now, you might just say, I'm doing nothing and I'm fine with that. But I'm pretty sure the majority of you aren't fine with that. And if you were empowered enough, you probably would do more. And so, I'd just like to open up to the chat. Are there any ideas that come to mind of things that you can think about doing? Because it's really a question about how do you engage in politics and society beyond voting? How do we keep the momentum going after elections? Because it's important to stay politically active, but that doesn't mean watching the news every day and just getting depressed about it. It could be just about choosing an issue and working on it away from politics. Because again, politics, we always use as politics in terms of the media political frenzies, the political establishment, politicians. But politics is also helping at your local elderly home, maybe. That's politics. That's better in society. It might be going to your local park and picking up some rubbish. That's politics. Could be donating some money to a charity. That's politics. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there. So what are some of the ways people can be active participants in democracy without being directly involved in politics? And how can we support and promote civic education to foster a more engaged and informed electorate? And what I think it is when you sort of learn about politics, if at all, it's about learning about the political establishment. Like, oh yeah, this is what politicians do. But it should be about actually, no, this is what you can do. What can you do to improve things? Hannah says, letter writing, campaigns, protests, boycotts, and donations all come to mind. And those are all really, really, really great. Canuck says, I participate in public consultations, transit, telecommunications, regulatory, copyright. I mean, this is going to sound like a weird comparison, but when I play VR games, and it does happen during the live streams, the Let's Plays I do, but I do sometimes email the devs afterwards and I say, here's some feedback. This is what I've experienced. This is what I think is broken and needs fixing. And these are the nice things that I would like to see if it was at all possible. And you get messages back saying, wow, thanks so much for putting all that effort and thought into it. Like, most people just play the game. And I think that's the same with politics as well. Because I reckon if you actually contacted your local MP and said, I want to help and volunteer, can we have a conversation? I think you'd be surprised how much influence you could have, because most people aren't doing that. Most people aren't doing it. And we talk about career politicians. The way that we change that is by just having constant involvement from people. And not just when there's a catastrophe. You know, there are scandals and then everyone emails the MPs at once. During those points, they're just shutting off. La, 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 this will blow over. But what about the more quieter times? Could have an impact there, right? Karina says, voting with your wallet, I find, is an easy way to state your case, e.g. not buying certain products or food. I will always remember that during Occupy Wall Street, actually developed an app where when you scan a product in the store, it would give you a tree of like all the companies and the multinationals that own that product. So you would actually know who owns what, and then you could actually vote with your wallet. Now, I'm sure there are other apps that do that, but, you know, technology is so empowering. And if you know about something like that, tell people about it. You know, it can really, really help. Awesome Tatum says, I think one way to be involved is stay involved with your local governments, even your neighborhood watch groups, etc. Yeah, do you have neighborhood watch groups in America? Because we have neighborhood watch. It's really good. And that's the thing. Politics doesn't have to be national. It doesn't even have to be like county based. It can just be your neighborhood. It can just be your neighborhood. Gamecat says Westminster is one area of law in this country where deceit is not only allowed but encouraged. Brian's secret boyfriend, going to rallies for causes you support is a cool way to stay politically active. And I do believe that. And I do think sometimes you're like, oh, is there any point going to a rally? But the thing is, there are so many rallies. And also, the flip side of this is sometimes you can get criticised for like, why didn't you sign this petition? Or why weren't you at this event? And this will be a topic for another time, because I've talked about it on my videos before, many years ago. But it's about choosing your own battles. I work in cybersecurity. I have a huge interest in the environment, and I talk about it from time to time and get involved in a few things here and there. But there are other issues I care about. I care about LGBTQ representation. I care about, you know, racism. I care about equality. I care about a lot of issues, but I'm not directly involved in them. Does it mean I don't give a shit? No. And if someone comes to me and Myles, hey, can you do this to help? Might not be a yes, but I might at least give it a look in. And so when we look around and we see people that are focused on one issue, and then they're not talking about this issue that you care about, it's very easy to then start tearing down people that are on your same team. And that's a big part of the divisive nature of like the internet and that. Oh, you don't care about this. No, maybe they do, but maybe they realise that people like you are working on it and they're really glad. That's what society is. Society isn't everyone doing everything. Society is everyone dividing up and saying, hey, you do this, I'll do that. And together can piece together and make a better society. Because also, when you look at the root causes of a lot of the problems that we have, all the root causes are the same. From the FOD says, I think volunteering and doing something civic is worthwhile. I did 6 months volunteering with the NHS mental health care. It doesn't have to be about Westminster, etc. Absolutely brilliant point. And you've just reminded me, and this is how inspiration works. I need to start giving blood. I've given blood once in my life, and it shouldn't be a one-off thing. So I should get involved in that. Karina says, educating kids and young people to think critically. Absolutely. Help people understand the maze that is politics, and then voting, again, becomes the end product. More educated voting is what we need to. Someone said, wow, such a good idea. And I don't know what idea we're talking about, but I'll take that. I'll take that. Support local family-owned high street shops. Yeah. Like, also, you know, if someone does a good job, I always mention this with vitamin G. If, like, a business owner gives you a product and you're happy with it, give them a rating. Just tweet them. Even if you haven't got a massive following, they can retweet it, and it's like a testimonial. You know, you can change people's lives very, very quickly. Think global, act local was the mantra, and still is, I guess. I like that. Think global, act local. I like that. You've given blood 35 times. That is amazing. I do actually want to get someone on the show to talk about giving blood, in terms of someone that actually works at a blood bank. Dadiva says, I've given blood 6 times. Mine is rare. I mean, 6 times is really, really good. More than once, which is all I've done. So that's really, really, really good. And that is true. And this is, again, it's not about letting perfect be enemy of the good. I've given once, and that was great. And I'm not beating myself up about it, but I should definitely do. There was a new party here called the Federal Alliance Party. The FAP didn't get far. Nobody knows why. That's funny. Siago says, maybe a bit of a hippy-dippy take, but there's no harm in paying kindness forward. Agreed. That's what my dad always says, because I always felt guilty for my family. My parents do so much for me, and I'd love to take them on holiday one day, and maybe I will. And they just say, pay it forward. That's what they've always said. I think if you go out with a general sense of altruism, kindness, willingness to help, that has a ripple effect. I'm actually at the moment drafting up another list of show ideas and titles, and karma is a really good topic that I'm going to definitely do. Okay, the good idea with the app that shows which companies are involved in what. Yeah, I'm still playing catch up a lot of the time, so yeah. Thank you for that. Perhaps not relevant in a political context. You never know who you're talking to, who you drop the ball with, or obnoxious to, what kind of ripple effect that has. I mean, that is, and then there's actually a compassion in politics movement. I'm trying to get someone on the show as well, so that would be really, really good. Well, listen, everyone. This has been a really great discussion, and it's absolutely flown by. And what I loved was, I've been really low energy lately. Like, basically, the last month and a half has been really difficult for me. Been working a lot. I'm actually in the process of taking a vacation, which hopefully will happen by the end of this month. We'll have to wait and see. I'm taking a couple of days off next week to attend a gaming convention in London, which should be good. Today, I got to today, and I just was like, I haven't even thought about the topic. And I have a list of hundreds of topics, but it's like when you do it as a title and a thumbnail and think about, is this the kind of conversation? And I always think about it in the context of, like, what was the previous episode and the one before that. You know, I like to keep it mixed. And I do have some show ideas which are like fall back on ones. I mentioned last week that password game. That's an easy one to do. But yeah, I literally had the debating pizzas, how to deal with hot weather. Those would have been both really easy ones to do. And it was amazing. An hour before the show, I then went with this topic. And it just seems crazy on a day where I was really like low energy. What are we going to talk about? And I went with a topic which, you know, politics is a hot one. It's quite a lot of detail to go into. But sometimes just, you know, starting with a simple point, which was Someone knocked on my door. They said, do you want to do canvassing? I said, I'm not a part of your political party, but we have a mutual objective, which is to, in our case, get rid of the current administration that is tired, incompetent, and destructive to this country's fabric. Let's unite and do something about it. And I went out. I spent 3 lunchtimes. I posted 250 letters. That's a lot. And if everyone, and I'm not saying everyone should do this, but if everyone did that, we would completely change the shape of society and that. So, yeah, being your best self and becoming an exemplar is political, I guess, in the most positive way. I want to thank everyone in the live chat today for sharing your thoughts and being a part of this conversation. And if you are watching or listening on replay and you have any thoughts that come to mind, maybe with your own personal experiences, are there ways that you have been involved in the political process? Again, it doesn't have to be the mainstream political system. It can be activism, it could be working for organisations, it could just be working in your own community. Do let me know in the comments section. I really, really would love to hear from you. And if you have any tips for people that perhaps don't know where to start or where to go, there are a lot of great websites. I was speaking to someone earlier who mentioned there are a lot of these great websites where you can answer questions about policy, and it will say these political parties are the ones that are most aligned with you. And things aren't black and white. You might end up voting for a political party that you don't agree with everything on. But unfortunately, that's the system we currently have. So with all that said, I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of your week. Just as a reminder, on Friday night, I will be hosting with Brian Paul, PSVR Without Parole. Links are in the description of this video. And then on Sunday, I will be doing some VR Let's Plays. We've got a lot of games coming out the following week. It's going to be very, very busy. But it's always an absolute joy, and I've been having a blast with it. So thank you, everyone. Do hit the like button if you haven't on your way out. Do subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about all future episodes of Myles Dyer Live, all my PSVR Without Paroles, which get playlisted on the channel, and also the Let's Plays that are at the weekend and during the week when there is a new game out that I get my hands on early. If you have any ideas for new topics on the show, head on over to our Discord, which is called Empathy Arcade. Link is in the description of this video. And if you are on Discord, or if you've never used Discord before, give it a go. People here can help you in the live chat with getting it set up. It's a really great way to just like dive in and out when these live streams aren't happening and continue the conversations. But there is a channel on there that is called Myles Dyer Live, and that is to talk about all things with this show. I would challenge you, everyone that's watching or listening, whenever you're hearing me say this, head on over to the Discord. Head on over to Discord, if I can even say it properly. Go to the Myles Dyer Live channel and list 5 topics, and it can be really specific. It can be really specific topics that you would like to see on the show, and then I'll collate them all together. Doesn't mean I'll necessarily cover them, but it might also inspire me with other ideas as well. Because although I've got a list of 100, sometimes fresher ideas can just swoop in, inspire me, and lead to many more great shows. But yeah, new topic: ChatGPT recipes. Would you eat it? Well, actually, we could do that. That'd be quite a good one, actually. I have actually eaten some ChatGPT recipes. I've spoken about one on previous shows, but we could definitely do more of that. I'm going to leave it there, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Always love spending time with you. Really appreciate it. Stay cool. Stay hydrated. Love, respect, empathy, and adios. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Thought I saw you on the road. I was chasing sunsets all alone. The darkness faded, painting goodbye big sky. Far away but dreaming of your ocean eyes.
Hey everyone, thanks so much. Really cool show. It went really, really smoothly. I love that. Expectations are always an interesting thing. I try not to have them, but naturally when you're preparing for a show, you have a sense of like, this is what my energy levels are. This is what I'm feeling. Let's see how this goes. But yeah, really, really enjoyed the conversation. It was just a thought that came to mind when I had that experience. What are you doing to change society? And also, a lot of you were obviously talking about how great that song is. It's amazing how it never gets boring. I think because it's a short song as well, it just works hearing it every week. And it's a bit of a journey as well. It's a wonderful, wonderful song. But if you like the music that's played at the start of these episodes, or that song, and you want to hear it, head on over to our Discord. Sorry, not our Discord, to the Spotify. Link in the description of this video. If you scroll all the way down, it's the Myles Dyer live playlist on Spotify. Even if you don't have Spotify, you can use it just to find out what the tracks are. And I always add to it when a new track is played, which I haven't done today, and I'll do it straight after this live stream. So, yeah, have a good week, everyone, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.